A riderless mare came home at dusk. Not walking, staggering. Snow clung to her mane. Blood had frozen along one stirrup, and the saddle blanket was torn as if somebody had ripped it loose in a fight with the mountain itself. Clara Vale saw the empty saddle from the ranch house window. For one breath she did not move. Then she was out the door, pulling on her coat, tying her scarf with fingers that had already gone cold. Because the man who owned that mare was somewhere beyond the white wall of the storm. And the terrible part was this. Clara had married him because of a promise made to a dead man. But she rode into that blizzard because, somewhere along the way, that promise had stopped being enough. 3 months earlier, the river had been the danger. At sunrise, Cottonwood Creek looked almost peaceful, a silver ribbon cutting through the flats below Black Kettle Ridge. By noon, it had turned brown, swollen, and loud enough to swallow voices. Spring melt poured down from the high country. Every dry wash became a channel. Every channel became a warning. Elias Boone sat his horse near the crossing, watching the cattle bunch up at the bank. He was 37, sun-browned, broad through the shoulders, and quiet in the way men became quiet after too many winters alone. Beside him rode Jonah Pike. Jonah was the sort of man who could make a hard day sound like a joke until the day turned deadly. He and Elias had ridden together for 16 years. They had driven cattle through hail, pulled calves from mud, slept under wagons, and once survived 3 days on cold beans and bad luck. Jonah leaned over the saddle horn and grinned. "Get this herd across," he said, "and I swear I'll buy you the worst supper in Fort Laramie." Elias looked at the boiling creek. "You said that last time. I was saving you from it." The cattle began moving. Hooves struck water, men shouted. The lead animals pushed forward, nervous but willing. Then a child's scream cut through the noise. A peddler's wagon had slipped at the far bank. One wheel dropped sideways, and a little girl standing too close lost her footing. She went into the water so fast her mother grabbed only air. For half a second, everybody froze. Jonah did not. He drove his horse into the creek, threw himself from the saddle, and vanished into the brown current. "Elias," someone shouted. But Elias was already moving downstream with a rope. The water took Jonah and the child under a tangle of foam and branches. They surfaced once, far too close to a pile of broken cottonwood limbs wedged against the bend. Jonah had one arm around the girl. The other arm reached for the rope. Elias threw. The rope slapped the water, missed, then caught on Jonah's wrist as the current swung him hard against the debris. Men hauled. The girl came first, coughing, crying, alive. Then Jonah. He smiled when they pulled him onto the bank, as if he meant to make light of it. But the smile failed. A branch had struck him below the ribs. His shirt was torn. The blood beneath it was too dark, too fast. By sundown, rain hammered the line camp roof. The men laid Jonah on a narrow bunk inside the tack room because it was the warmest place left. Kerosene light shook on the walls. Wet coats steamed from pegs. Outside, the storm beat against the door like somebody wanting in. Elias sat beside him. For a long while, Jonah said nothing. Then he reached beneath his coat and pulled out a flat leather satchel with a brass buckle polished by years of handling. "Need you to carry this?" Elias looked at the satchel. "No." Jonah breathed a laugh. It hurt him. "You don't even know where. I know that tone." Jonah's eyes shifted toward the door, toward the rain, toward some place much farther away. "Her name is Clara Vale." Elias frowned. Jonah had spoken of card games, horses, bad cooks, good trails, and debts he swore were temporary. He had never spoken of Clara Vale. "She's in Abilene," Jonah said. "Works at the Union House laundry." Elias waited. Jonah swallowed, slow and painful. "I was going to marry her come September." Thunder rolled over the roof. Elias looked at him then. "You were what?" "Letters," Jonah whispered. 2 years of them," she said. "Yes." The room seemed to grow smaller. Elias opened the satchel. Inside were letters tied with blue thread, a small tintype of a woman in a plain dark dress, and one sealed packet marked only with Clara's name. "Why didn't you say anything?" Jonah closed his eyes. "Because saying it made it something I could lose." Rain slid through a crack in the roof and tapped a bucket near the wall. Jonah's voice grew thinner. "She's alone, Elias. People have made that woman carry shame that wasn't hers. I thought maybe I could give her a place where nobody knew the story." What story? Jonah's fingers tightened on the blanket. Not mine to tell. But the proof is in there. Some of it. Elias looked down at the satchel as if its weight had doubled. What exactly are you asking? Jonah turned his face toward him. Go to her. Tell her I didn't leave her waiting. Give her the letters. Give her the proof. He paused, fighting for air. And if she will have it, give her my future. Elias stared at him. You mean your land share? No. Jonah's eyes softened. I mean you. Elias stood. The stool scraped the floor. That is a cruel thing to ask a woman. I know, and a foolish thing to ask me. I know that too. She doesn't know me. Jonah looked almost amused. Most decent things start that way. Elias turned toward the wall. He could not look at Jonah for a moment. The truth was, Jonah was asking for more than a ride to Abilene. He was asking Elias to step into a life that belonged to someone else. A plan that had been built in letters. A hope that had not yet learned it was dying. But Jonah had once dragged Elias out from under a rolled wagon before the horses trampled him. Jonah had once split his last dollar with him in a town where neither man had a friend. Jonah had been a brother in every way that mattered. Near dawn, the rain stopped. Jonah opened his eyes one last time. Promise me. Elias sat beside him again. His jaw worked once. Then he nodded. I promise. Jonah's hand loosened on the blanket. By first light he was gone. They buried him above the creek, beneath a cottonwood bent by weather. No preacher could reach the camp, so Elias said what little he could say. It was not enough. It never is. A week later, Elias rode east with Jonah's satchel wrapped in oilcloth. He told himself it was only a delivery, a duty, a debt paid to the dead. But every night, when the fire burned low, he found himself looking at Clara's tintype. She was not smiling. She sat straight-backed, with dark hair pinned severely at the nape of her neck and hands folded over a worn book. Her face was calm, but her eyes were not soft. They had the look of someone who had learned to expect the blow before the hand moved. On the back of the tintype, someone had written one line. Clara Vale. Abilene, do not let them make you small. Elias turned the image over and stared into the flames. For the first time, he wondered whether carrying the truth to her would be kinder, or whether arriving with Jonah's promise would only break what was left. Abilene smelled of coal smoke, horse sweat, and hot iron. Elias found the Union House after 2 wrong turns and a question asked at the livery. It was a narrow hotel near the tracks. Respectable in front and tired in back. Sheets hung from lines behind the wash house. Steam rolled out through open shutters. Clara Vale was standing over a copper boiler with her sleeves rolled to the elbow. She was younger than he expected and older than her years. Maybe 29, maybe 30. Her hands were reddened from lie. A strand of black hair had slipped loose and stuck to her cheek. She lifted a wet sheet, twisted it clean, and did not ask anyone to help. A man in a waistcoat stood near the wash-house door, counting coins. Careful with that linen, he called. Guess pay for clean, not ruined. Clara did not answer. She simply wrung the sheet harder. Elias watched too long. Then he stepped forward. Miss Vale? She turned. The eyes from the tintype were exact, careful, steady, tired of being misjudged before she spoke. Yes, my name is Elias Boone. Nothing in her face moved. Then he said Jonah's name. The sheet slipped from her hands into the tub. The whole wash-house seemed to hold its breath. Clara looked past Elias, as if some part of her still expected Jonah to walk in behind him. When? 3 weeks ago. Her mouth tightened, but she did not cry. Was he alone? No. That answer mattered. Elias could see it. I was with him. She nodded once, very slowly. Then she dried her hands on her apron, led him through a rear door, and stopped in a pantry so small the flour barrels nearly touched the wall. Elias placed the satchel on a crate. Clara looked at it as though it might burn her fingers. He carried it with him, everywhere. She opened it. Letters, the tintype, the sealed packet. On top was Jonah's final letter. Clara read standing up. At first her face remained composed. Then the paper trembled. Not much, just enough. When she finished, she folded the letter with almost painful care. What did he ask you to do? Elias had rehearsed this sentence across 400 miles. It still came out wrong. He asked me to offer you a home. Clara's eyes lifted. His home, my ranch, and what else? Elias did not look away. Marriage, if you wanted the protection of it. Clara gave one short laugh. There was no humor in it. Protection. That's what men call it when they want to decide how a woman survives. I don't want to decide anything for you. But Jonah did. The words struck harder because they were true enough. Elias said nothing. Clara stepped back from the crate. Her voice remained level, but the hurt had reached it now. I wrote to a man who made me believe he saw me, and now a stranger brings me his letters and tells me there is a substitute. No. That is exactly what it is. No, Elias said again, softer. A substitute tries to take another man's place. I am not asking for that place. Then what are you asking? That you not be left alone with a promise he died trying to keep. Clara studied him for a long time. There was suspicion in her eyes, and under it, exhaustion. What would you expect from me? Work if you want it. A room of your own. Your own money from anything you earn, nothing else. No gratitude? No. No pretending? No. No husband rights because some dying man thought it would make a clean ending? Elias flinched at that, but he answered, no. Clara looked down at the satchel. What if I say no? Then I will leave the letters, pay for your passage anywhere you choose, and ride home. That surprised her. It surprised him too. But once spoken, it became true. Clara closed the satchel. I need time. You should take it. 3 days later, she met him at the depot. She carried one trunk, one valise, and Jonah's satchel. No veil, no smile, no promise, only a decision. As the train pulled west, Clara sat by the window and watched Kansas flatten into open distance. Elias sat across the aisle, hat low, pretending to sleep. Near sunset, Clara opened the satchel again. Beneath the letters, tucked under the lining, she found the sealed packet with her name on it. Her hand stopped. The packet was heavier than a letter should have been. She stared at Jonah's handwriting until the light faded. Then she slid it back beneath the lining. Not because she did not want the truth. Because she was afraid the truth might be another thing someone could take away. Silver Mesa was not what Clara expected. There was no grand house, no white porch with carved rails, no polished parlor waiting to turn her into a decoration. Elias's ranch sat low against the land, built from rough timber and stubborn necessity. The barn leaned slightly east, the windmill complained. The corrals were patched in 3 kinds of wood, but the house was clean, the stove drew well, and the bedroom Elias gave her had a window facing the mountains. Yours, he said. Clara looked at the room, then at him. And yours? Back room. That's barely wider than the bed. It has a roof. That was all he said. The wedding happened 5 days later in a chapel beside a stage road. A circuit preacher read the words from a Bible with cracked leather covers. 2 ranch hands stood witness. Clara wore her dark traveling dress. Elias wore the only black coat he owned, brushed clean at the shoulders but shiny at the elbows. When the preacher told Elias he could kiss the bride, Elias only looked at Clara. She gave the smallest shake of her head, so he stepped back. The preacher blinked, then cleared his throat. Well, the Lord understands plain arrangements. No one laughed. On the ride home, the wagon wheels creaked over frozen ruts. Clara held Jonah's satchel in her lap. Elias kept his eyes on the road. They were married before the law. Before each other, they were still strangers. The first weeks moved carefully. Elias rose before dawn. Clara heard his boots on the floorboards, the scrape of the stove lid, the front door closing into cold air. By the time he returned, he smelled of dust, leather, and horses. He spoke little at supper. Clara spoke less, but work has its own language. She found the pantry in disorder and set it right. She mended torn shirts without asking permission. She turned a sack of poor flour into bread good enough to make the hands linger near the kitchen door. Then she found the account books. They were stacked in a crate near the hearth, tied with twine, neglected with the despair of a man who understood cattle better than ink. One evening, Elias came in to find ledgers spread across the table. Clara had pinned one receipt beneath a spoon. Did you know McLean's freight office billed you twice for the same wire shipment? Elias took off his gloves. No, I guessed. He leaned over the page. How long has that been happening? 3 months. Maybe longer. Your handwriting hides some of the crimes. A corner of his mouth moved. That's the first kind thing you've said to me. It wasn't kind, no, but it was useful. From then on, the books lived on the table. At first, Clara worked them because numbers made more sense than people. Then because the ranch needed it. Then because Elias began asking what she thought before making decisions. That was new. Not kindness. She had known kindness before. Respect was rarer. In town, respect came slower. Silver Mesa had one general store, one church, one saloon, and 47 people who believed privacy was suspicious. Mrs. Adeline Crowther owned the store and treated gossip like a second currency. She smiled at Clara with sugar in her voice and vinegar in her eyes. "So you're the bride from Abilene." "I am. Long way to come for a man you hardly knew. Long way to come for flour, too. But here we both are." A tin scoop stopped moving somewhere behind them. Mrs. Crowther's smile tightened. By the next week, Clara felt the town closing ranks around a story she had not told them. Whispers followed her from the post office to the church steps. Conversations thinned when she entered a room. Women looked at her gloves, her ring, her face, as if guilt might show on the surface if they stared long enough. Elias heard pieces of it at the saloon. "Abilene woman," someone said. "Trouble at that hotel," another muttered. "Cash box went missing, didn't it?" Elias set his glass down. The room quieted. "What hotel?" No one answered. "What cash box?" A rancher named Wilkes shrugged too loosely. "Only talk." Elias looked at him until the shrug died. "Then bury it." He said nothing to Clara that night, but Clara knew. A woman who has lived under accusation can hear rumor through a closed door. Late October brought hard frost. By November, the mountains turned white and stayed that way. Elias grew watchful. He stood on the porch at dawn with coffee in his hand and read the sky as if it were a ledger only he could balance. One evening, he unfolded a map on the kitchen table. "North pasture won't hold if that ridge storm comes early," he said. "I need to move the herd below salt draw." "How many head?" 462, counting the late calves. Clara looked at the map. "That trail crosses the old shale cut." "It does. Isn't that where the washout took the fence?" Elias looked at her. "You remember that? You paid for replacement posts in September. Twice before I corrected it." He almost smiled. Then the wind struck the house hard enough to rattle the window. The smile disappeared. "I'll leave before daylight." Clara nodded. She wanted to say more. So did he. Neither did. At 4 in the morning, Elias saddled his mare, Belle, and rode out with 5 hands in the herd. Clara stood on the porch wrapped in a wool shawl. "Storm's moving fast," she said. "I know." "Then move faster." That did make him smile. "Yes, ma'am." He rode away into the gray. By afternoon, snow began. By night, the whole valley was gone. For 2 days, the storm ruled everything. Snow buried fence rails. The pump handle froze. The barn door had to be dug open twice. Clara kept the kitchen fire burning and a lantern in the front window, though no one had asked her to. On the 3rd evening, a shape appeared in the yard. A horse, alone. Belle stumbled toward the trough, reins dragging, saddle empty, one stirrup dark with frozen blood. Clara saw her from the window. For one breath, she did not move. Then she was outside. A hand named Otto grabbed her arm near the porch. "Mrs. Boone, no." Clara pulled free. "Get ropes? Nobody can see 10 yards. Then pray you can see 11. The men will go when the wind drops." Clara turned on him. "If your horse came back without you, would Elias wait for nicer weather?" Otto had no answer. Minutes later, Clara rode out with 2 men following, because neither could bear to let her go alone. The world became white noise. Snow struck her face like thrown sand. Her lashes froze. Her hands went numb inside the gloves. The mare beneath her fought every drift, every hidden dip, every gust that tried to turn them sideways. Clara kept looking for anything wrong. A broken branch. A dragged line. A dark mark against white. She found the first sign near the shale cut. A torn saddle blanket caught in scrub oak. Then blood. Not much. Enough. They followed the trail down toward a narrow ravine where wind had packed snow in smooth, deadly sheets. Clara dismounted and walked because the horse refused another step. Then she saw a boot beneath a rock shelf. Elias was wedged between 2 fallen slabs of shale. His left leg was trapped. One glove was gone. Ice crusted his beard. His face had the stillness of a man halfway across a border he was not meant to cross yet. Clara dropped beside him. "Elias." His eyelids fluttered. For a moment he looked straight through her. Then his eyes found focus. "Clara, don't sound so surprised." A breath that might have been a laugh escaped him. "Belle made it better than you did." She wrapped her scarf around his bare hand and shouted for the men. It took nearly an hour to free him. At one point, Elias stopped making sound. Clara slapped his face hard enough to sting her own palm. You do not get to die after making me come all this way. His eyes opened again. Wouldn't dare. They brought him home after dark. The doctor came through the storm with his coat turned white and his temper black. Elias had a broken ankle, a bruised shoulder, 2 frostbitten fingers, and the stubborn luck of a man too difficult for death to collect. For 3 days he drifted in and out of fever. Clara slept in a chair beside the bed. She measured laudanum, changed cloths, fed the stove, read aloud from an almanac because it was the only book in the room, and Elias seemed to settle when she spoke. On the 4th night the fever broke. The house was quiet. Elias slept. Clara sat alone in the kitchen with Jonah's satchel on the table. For months she had not opened the packet. Now she broke the seal. Inside were receipts, sworn statements, 2 hotel ledgers, and a letter from Jonah written in a hand less steady than his earlier ones. Clara read until the lamp flame blurred. The theft at the Union House had never been hers. The missing payroll money had been shifted through false laundry charges, hidden in duplicate supplier bills, and signed off by the hotel clerk who later accused her. Jonah had found the clerk's old partner in Cheyenne. He had found the freight receipts. He had found the copied ledger pages. Every name was there, every date, every proof she had been denied. For 6 years, Clara had lived with doors closing before she reached them. 6 years of being watched near cash drawers. 6 years of employers saying they believed in second chances while paying her less than every woman beside her. And Jonah had believed her before he had proof. That hurt most of all. Not because it was painful, because it was mercy arriving too late. A floorboard creaked. Elias stood in the doorway, leaning hard on a crutch. You opened it. Clara wiped her face too quickly. You should be in bed, probably. He looked at the papers. Is it what he said? She nodded. It clears you? It should. Then it will. Clara gave a broken little laugh. You make it sound simple. No, I make it sound worth doing. He crossed the room slowly and lowered himself into a chair. For a while they sat with the evidence between them. Then Elias asked the question that had been living in the house for weeks. If Belle had not come back, he said quietly, would it have mattered? Clara looked down. She tried to answer with sense, with pride, with safety. No words came. Instead, the tears came. Not loud, not pretty, not the kind of crying anyone writes poems about. Just tears she had stored for Jonah, for Abilene, for the girl she had been before people taught her to stand like stone. Elias reached across the table. He did not take her hand. He placed his palm open beside hers and waited. After a long moment, Clara moved her fingers into his. That was all. And it was everything. Clearing a name was slower than finding a body in the snow. It required letters, telegrams, stamps, patience, and the particular stubbornness of a sheriff who disliked being made a fool of by paperwork. Sheriff Gideon Price spent 2 weeks studying Jonah's packet. Then he sent inquiries to Abilene, Cheyenne, and the freight office in Topeka. Replies came back in pieces. A copied invoice, a sworn note, a clerk's confession delivered by a deputy who had no idea how much weight a folded paper could carry. By New Year's, the truth could no longer be treated as Clara's private hope. It had become record. On a cold Saturday, Sheriff Price read the findings from the steps of the general store, because that was where the rumors had done most of their traveling. The whole town gathered. Clara stood beside Elias, who still leaned on a cane and looked angry enough to outlive any injury. Mrs. Crowther stood near the store window, face pale beneath her bonnet. The sheriff's voice carried clean in the cold air. He named the false charges. He named the duplicate bills. He named the man who had stolen the payroll and blamed a woman with no family powerful enough to defend her. When he finished, silence settled over Silver Mesa. Not the silence before gossip. The silence after shame. Clara waited for triumph to arrive. It did not. What came instead was something quieter. Room. Room to breathe without bracing. Room to stand without explaining. Room to become more than the worst thing strangers had chosen to believe. Elias touched her elbow. You all right? Clara looked across the street, past the store, past the people, toward the White Mountains. I thought this would give me back what I lost. And, she looked at him then, it gave me proof. But I think the rest started coming back before today. He understood. A week later, Elias asked her to ride with him to the ridge above the ranch. The day was clear, the sky a hard winter blue. Snow lay in the shaded gullies, but sunlight poured over the grasslands until the whole valley seemed edged in silver. They stopped where the land dropped open beneath them. The ranch looked small from there. House, barn, corrals, a thin smoke line rising from the chimney. A life that had once looked like an arrangement. Clara stood beside him in the wind. "Jonah wanted me safe," she said. "He did. He was wrong about how to give it to me." Elias nodded. "Maybe," she turned. "Only maybe? He got you here." Clara looked at the valley again. "He got me to the door." Elias was quiet for a long moment, and he said, "I kept his promise as best I knew how." Clara heard the change in his voice and looked back. The wind tugged at his coat. His face was plain, tired, honest. Not a poet's face. Not a hero's. The face of a man who had shown up again and again without asking to be praised for it. "I kept his promise," Elias said. "But somewhere along the way, Clara, you became mine to choose. Not because he asked. Because I did." Her eyes filled before she could stop them. "You became mine too," she said. The words were simple. They landed like shelter. Elias laughed once, soft with disbelief, and pulled her into his arms. No preacher, no witnesses, no bargain. Only the wind, the ridge, and two people who had mistaken duty for the beginning, when it had only been the road. Spring came slowly to Silver Mesa. The snow thinned from the hills. Calves appeared in the lower pasture. The creek that had taken Jonah's life ran clear again under the cottonwoods. Clara started baking for the ranch hands, then for neighbors, then for travelers who somehow heard there was bread worth stopping for on the Boone place. By summer, the old tool shed beside the barn became a bakehouse with a brick oven, 2 work tables, and enough orders to make Elias pretend not to look proud. Clara hired women who needed wages more than pity. A widow from the South Road. A girl whose father drank through rent money. A mother with 2 small sons and no patience for charity. Clara paid them fairly, wrote every number down, and kept the cash box in plain sight. No one in Silver Mesa joked about it. Not twice. The ranch prospered too. Not because life became easy. It did not. Fences still broke. Cattle still sickened. Drought still threatened. Winter still waited in the mountains like a debt that always came due. But the house changed. There was lamplight in both front windows now, bread cooling on the table, ledgers balanced before they became trouble, 2 cups of coffee on the porch at dusk, and near the mantel Jonah's satchel remained. Not hidden, not worshipped, just kept. Because grief, like love, becomes part of the furniture when people stop trying to prove it belongs. One evening, a year after the riderless Mare came home, Clara and Elias sat together watching the last light leave Black Kettle Ridge. Belle grazed near the barn, healed and fat with summer grass. Elias reached for Clara's hand. She let him. Neither spoke for a long while. They did not need to. The promise that brought her there had belonged to a dying man. The life that stayed had become theirs, and in a valley that had once offered only weather, work, and survival, 2 wounded hearts learned the one truth no letter could carry for them. Love is not the promise someone makes over you. It is the hand that stays after the promise is gone.